Hi everyone, it's Amanda, holistic health coach for moms with chronic back pain here. I want to, okay, sorry, thought we could start this, no problem. Okay, you can come too. Travis and I wanted to do a video for you today, 3 ways to make your yoga practice even more back friendly, or 3 props I should say, essentially what it is. So I love yoga for my back. I do about 10 minutes every morning. It's just such a great way to get out any tightness or stiffness, kind of start the morning with more mobility. And I love the mind-body aspect of it too. It's a way to kind of slow the mind and tune into your body, you know, what it's feeling, what it's trying to tell you, and that way we can respond appropriately. So, even as, as gentle and back friendly as yoga can be, there are certain positions or things that you may find yourself struggling with, whether it be just from like ongoing chronic pain or just tightness in the associated areas. So I wanted to give you 3 options of props that you can use, most of which you can find around your house to make certain poses a lot easier and be more effective and more efficient for you. So of course, anytime that you're doing exercise or starting something new, always recommended, just know your limitations. Obviously check with your healthcare provider as well if they have any restrictions for you, any do's or don'ts. That is most certainly important as well. So let's start off with the first one. So a lot of times there's seated, where am I gonna go, bud? I need that spot over there. A lot of seated poses can be, again, as simple as it looks, they can be a challenge. So, all right, well, I guess we're doing this, huh? So let me take butterfly pose, for example. So I'm seated on the floor. You can see my lower back is rounding forward. So I'm having a hard time sitting upright and keeping that straight. So whether it's this, whether you're trying to do a seated forward fold with the legs out in front or just one leg out in front, definitely keeping that neutral spine position is really important. So a quick thing that you can do is use a pillow, a folded blanket, maybe some folded towels to sit on to raise your hips up. And raising your hips up a little bit higher than the legs will allow you to straighten out and keep that back in a more neutral position. So let's see now. All right, so I'm can kind of straighten up through the lower back, find that natural curvature that should occur in our lower back area. This is probably still a little bit low for me. I could probably even fold this in half or see if I could find a bigger pillow, but definitely one option here. So another one would be a scarf. So any poses where maybe you're needing to reach down towards your leg or your foot or your ankle. If you deal with back pain, you're probably laughing anytime an instructor would tell you to do that. So oftentimes you'll find maybe you'll be reaching for your lower leg or your upper leg, not going down the full distance here. So a scarf or a towel or anything like that can be helpful for these poses. So taking that around the foot, I can then hold on from there at a spot that's comfortable and get a little bit more out of that stretch. So this would also be good for, I'm just not getting any real estate on this mat today. Oh, bud. This would also be good if, you're doing like a lying hamstring stretch like this. So when I am down like this, I most certainly cannot reach up towards my ankle or my toes. So again, I can use that scarf to kind of bring it to a spot where I do feel that stretch. There we go. All right. So the last one that I wanted to show you is more for like lunging type of positions or when you're standing and doing standing forward folds, things like that. And that would be for some yoga blocks. So these are pretty thick ones. They do come in different widths. They're relatively inexpensive. If you don't have these, just books would be fine too. Basically, the idea is that you're raising the ground up to you, so you don't have to bend over and put your back in a compromising position to try and reach down to the floor, depending on what the pose is. So let me switch over here a little bit, see if I can get some room. So a common one that you'll see is always to stretch out the hip flexors. That's important for the back as well. So I'm trying to get myself into a low lunge here. So from this position, you can see if I try to reach towards the floor, it's really easy for my back to round forward like that. So the blocks would be really helpful just to bring down to the side and bring the floor up to me. You can also move them to different heights depending on what you need. So now I can sink down into that stretch a little bit more, and again, allow my back to stay in a neutral position. So same thing too, this will work for if you're doing sun salutations or anything like that, that requires, from your standing position down into a forward fold. You can put these in front of your feet to have something to reach down to rather than trying to force yourself to go all the way down to the ground. All right, so that's it. So our 3 things, you've got a pillow, a scarf or a towel, and the yoga blocks. Feel free to mix these in with some of your favorite videos or classes that you do. Again, super simple ways that you can modify a yoga practice to make it even more friendly for your back. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have questions in the comments below. Thank you for bearing with me for got about 2/3 of the yoga mat that I could use to demonstrate this. Hopefully this all makes sense. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.